How can a single moment change the course of a person's life forever? Anyone who's gone through a near-death experience knows the answer, but what exactly is going on whenever someone has a brush with the other side anyway? The University of Virginia School of Medicine notes that a common characteristic of many reported near-death experiences, or NDEs, is the sense that one's mind is working faster and processing information more clearly than usual. According to The Guardian, a man named Greg Gnome said that his brush with death while stuck beneath a waterfall included a flood of memories that he was nevertheless able to perceive in fine detail. As he told an NDE support group organized by researcher Dr. Bruce Grayson, he was so aware of everything around him that he could pick out the minutiae of his environment, even while he was in the middle of drowning. A 2013 study published in PLOS One indicated that NDE patients could recall their experiences with greater detail compared to both real and imagined memories of the less deadly sort. The experiences were also more emotional and focused on the self, perhaps contributing to the intensity of the recollections. However, that also means that someone who keeps going over the experience in their mind may inadvertently embellish it over time. The study's authors concluded that, while NDEs may not be strictly real in the same way that other memories are linked to real-world events, they're certainly processed in a very similar way. Whether or not a patient literally floated unseen above their own body or entered a strange tunnel, they're likely to perceive it as an extremely realistic, often deeply felt experience. To say that your life flashed before your eyes may sound cliché, but people who have had an NDE can tell you that it really happens. One very unique case even offers insight into the life review phenomena with real scientific data. After developing epileptic seizures, an unnamed patient was put under continuous EEG monitoring to gather more data. In the midst of the recording, the man suffered a heart attack and died, allowing scientists to observe the electrical activity in a dying human brain for the first time ever. Given that the patient died, it's less of a near-death experience and more of a death experience. But the 900 seconds of brain activity that were recorded offer valuable insight into what NDE experiencers may be going through. Researchers witnessed changes in brainwaves immediately before and after the man's heart attack. The specific waves were linked to functions that included memory, dreaming, perception, and information processing. Of course, there are plenty of things we still don't know, considering that researchers weren't able to interview the patient after his death. Nevertheless, it hints that this common aspect of NDEs may have an explanation rooted in biology.
Oh, my life flashed before my eyes. It was really boring.
According to the University of Virginia School of Medicine, another common feature of many NDEs is an out-of-body experience in which people report leaving their body and floating above it. Out-of-body experiences can also happen to people who aren't dying. Stressful events like childbirth or medical conditions such as epilepsy may push otherwise healthy people to feel as if they've left their physical bodies. A 2022 review in Resuscitation Plus indicated that patients who received CPR during cardiac arrests reported that they remained aware on some level, though whether or not they were genuinely recalling what happened during their resuscitation is unclear. A study from the NYU Grossman School of Medicine also suggests that unconscious patients may still be producing brainwaves and processing information in a way that includes a belief that they've left their body and can observe what's happening. Sometimes, these out-of-body experiences can produce the most compelling evidence for NDEs out there. One commonly retold story is that of Maria, who experienced cardiac arrest in 1977 in Seattle. She later told medical staff about a discarded shoe that she'd seen, giving very vivid details about something seemingly unimportant. When someone went to check, they found the shoe. According to The Atlantic, it was reportedly in such a position that the only way Maria would have been able to examine it was if she was floating.
Out-of-body experience?
Yeah.
Speaking to NPR, Randy Scheifer said that his March 2020 encounter with COVID-19 nearly killed him. Though his month-long medically induced coma left him seemingly unable to perceive anything around him, when Scheifer woke, he said otherwise. Among other details, he recalled moving through a tunnel dotted with beams of light, then entering a room filled with more of the light. The experience left him feeling loved and euphoric. Some describe a journey through a dark tunnel with a light at the end. As per a 2015 article published in the Journal of Near-Death Studies, some researchers have linked this to a patient's fading, narrowing vision. However, there may be a cultural element to this striking image, at least in the Western Hemisphere. In India, near-death experiencers don't always encounter tunnels and light. If human biology was the root of all these tunnels and lights, then researchers would expect to see similar reports no matter where the person reporting them is from. On first impression, you'd think that an NDE would be utterly terrifying. Dipping your toe into the reality of your own death is a terrifying prospect after all. However, many people who have gone through an NDE have reported feeling calm or even downright comforted. Sir Francis Beaufort, a British admiral who survived a close call with drowning in 1791, later wrote that he was both free of pain and fear during his experience. Indeed, it's one of the more common characteristics of this experience, as outlined by a 2020 study in PLOS One.
But it took him 5 minutes to cough. He said it was like going home.
What exactly is going on here? Spiritually minded people might turn to explanations that hinge on the existence of an all-loving deity. For those seeking out a more strictly logical explanation, brain chemistry might hold the key to these chilled-out encounters with mortality. A 2011 study published in Neuroscience Letters noted that dying rats in a lab environment showed dramatic increases in serotonin, a chemical that induces euphoria and feelings of well-being. As the 2020 PLOS One study notes, the majority of near-death experiences are positive, but not all of them. A small portion of NDEs can be nothing short of terrifying.
As he said it was like going home. I was lying. He said it was agony.
According to Missouri Medicine, there are 3 categories of negative NDEs: inverse, void, and hellish. Inverse NDEs are similar to positive ones, but much more stressful. In void NDEs, an experiencer encounters an endless and terrifying void. Finally, hellish NDEs effectively, as you might expect, send someone straight to hell, or at least an environment that they interpret as such. These might involve moving downward, witnessing others in pain, or being attacked by inhuman creatures. After recovery, some patients take this as a sign to change their lives, while others struggle with the implications of their NDE for years. A handful of NDEs may contain both positive and negative elements. Randy Scheifer told NPR that his experience included a tunnel full of calming light and a stunning golden city, but he panicked when he felt that he could never return. A 1988 case study published in the Journal of Near-Death Studies related the story of Vera, who was in a bad car accident in 1981. During her NDE, she encountered a tunnel, lights, and hyper-real greenery. She also entered a church-like building and came face-to-face with a figure she identified as the devil, who poured fire out of a goblet and caused her to scream and run away. As researchers have dug deeper into the question of what exactly goes on in the brain during an NDE, it's become clear that something strange is going on in the consciousness at the very least. As Dr. Kevin Nelson writes in Missouri Medicine, there appears to be a link between the kind of awareness that is part of an NDE and something practically everyone goes through each night: the stage of sleep characterized by rapid eye movement, or REM. Specifically, Nelson points to the blending of waking and REM sleep, which can produce hallucinations, lucid dreaming, and sleep paralysis. He notes that NDE patients appear to be especially prone to this. Brain activity during an NDE may be similar to another class of consciousness-altering events: seizures. A 2014 study in Frontiers in Human Neuroscience found that about 7% of participants who dealt with epileptic seizures reported an out-of-body experience similar to what someone might feel during an NDE. If some people's reports are anything to go by, the afterlife is already fairly populated. That's because some experiencers say that, at some point in their NDE, they encountered relatives or other people who had predeceased them. As per the journal Death Studies, people may report seeing these already dead people or otherwise sensing them through their voices or an impression of their presence. The phenomenon is also common among dying patients, who may report seeing relatives who have gone before them as they're nearing their own end. Dr. Christopher Kerr, a hospice doctor, has become one of the most prominent researchers of this phenomenon, having collected more than 1,400 accounts according to Discover magazine. He's not ready to call these visions proof of an afterlife, but they are clearly a profound spiritual experience for many people at the end of their lives. Much like with NDEs, these encounters with the dearly departed can be deeply affirming and comforting, lessening patients' fears of death.
I see a white light. There are others inside of it.
NDE experiencers might cross paths with familiar faces like those of dead relatives or passed-on friends, but they may also encounter more mysterious beings. According to Dr. Bruce Grayson, writing in The Science of Near-Death Experiences, it's common for people to report meeting with non-corporeal presences that are sometimes also linked to light. Depending on an individual's perception of the event and their cultural context, they may turn to religion to make sense of these non-human beings. A case study published in 2000 in the Journal of Near-Death Studies outlined one such experience. The woman in question had a close call with drowning in 1981, and after losing consciousness, she had classic NDE features such as feeling calm, being hyper-aware, witnessing a life replay, and encountering light at the end of a tunnel. In the light, she encountered a woman who told her that it was time to go back to the world of the living. More than a decade later, while helping her daughter recover from an accident, she encountered the same being, which she believed to be angelic. These beings need not be based on Western cultures or Christian theology either. Indian NDE experiencers sometimes report encounters with messengers of the Hindu god of death, as per a 1986 study published in the Journal of Nervous and Mental Disease. One of the most profound things that can happen during an NDE is something that's hard to pin down with a single event or symptom. During the experience, a person may be so deeply affected that they come out a different person afterward.
I'm a completely changed man. The only vestige of my old self is that I still got the good breath, you know.
As Dr. Bruce Grayson told The Guardian, many NDE experiencers lose their fear of death once they return. After having gone through the process of dying, mortality simply loses its bite. As a result, they may also be more inclined to live in the present moment and take more chances earthside. Some may lose the taste for their old lives and become new people entirely. There are negative after effects to be felt as well. Writing in Missouri Medicine, Grayson says that NDEs can seriously shake up people's preconceptions about the afterlife and may lead some people to think that they might be going crazy. Patients are more likely to disassociate from the world around them, and some even go through post-traumatic stress disorder.